Hi everyone, my name is Anvita Bansal and we are back with another problem for today from your SDE sheet. And let me move to the problem here. So the problem for today is going to be your stock buy and sell. Me. Okay, so you find this problem, go to solve and let's have a look. So the question says that you're given an array, okay? The cost of stock on each day is given in an array of size n. Consider each integer as the cost of the stocks. Now find all the segment of days on which you want to buy and sell the stock so that in between those days for which profit can be generated. There can be multiple solutions. The driver code, I'll explain you what they are saying. So basically, you see this array, right? So you're given the cost of stocks on each day. Like this is day 1, 2, 3, and so on. On different days, what is the cost of your stock? Now, what you want to return? What you want to return is actually an array list which will contain those pair of days for which you will for which you will buy and the other day for which you will sell, so that you generate profit. Okay, if let's say I buy the stock on day 0 and sell it on day 1, so what is the profit I'll generate? I'll generate 80 rupees. What if I sell it on this day? What is the profit I'll generate? So that will be, and I buy it on this day and I sell it on this day. The profit I'll generate is 160. Now you will say I can buy on this day also and sell it on this day. Then what is the profit I'm generating? So the profit that I'm generating in this case is 80. But the thing is, here also I'm in this pair also I'm generating profit. If I buy on this day and sell on this day, then also I'm generating profit. But what is the maximum profit I'm generating? So if I just consider these 3 days, then I'll say it will be profitable if I buy the stock on this day and directly sell it on this day, instead of buying on this day and selling on this day. Understanding the question, you want to generate the maximum profit. So in order to generate the maximum profit, on which day you will buy and on which day you will sell. If you, let's say, buy on this day 40, right, and you sell on this day, you will generate some profit for sure. But don't you see, if you buy on this day, buy on day 40 and sell it on day when the stock was rupees 695, the profit will be more. So ideally what you should do is, another pair of your buy and sell day should be this index and this index, right? So you have to return an array list which will contain such pairs so that you generate the maximum profit. I hope you have understood the problem statement so far. Screen is not clear. Is the screen clear now? Can you please let me know? The screen should be clear, I'm hoping. Okay. So let's move to the whiteboard and I'll explain you. Have a look here. I hope you all can see my screen. Please write in the chat if you are not able to. So I've written 2 test cases here and I'll explain you how to solve this problem. So in the first test case, these are the values of stocks you are given. Just consider for now, in order to understand, consider a graph. Let's consider a graph, some graph like this. It will be, let's say, I buy some stock which is at rupees 100. Okay. I'm not telling you whether I'm buying or selling. I'm trying to understand the pattern of how the values of the stock is increasing or decreasing. So on day 0, let's say this is 100. On day 0, the value of your stock is 100, right? You were here. Then the next day, the value of stock becomes what? The next day, the value of stock increases to 180. Let's say this is 180. Then other day it increases to 260. Let's say this is 260. Then the next day it becomes 310. Let's say it is 310. Then it decreases to 40 directly. It comes down below at 40. Let's say this is your 40. Then it takes a huge rise in its cost and directly goes to 535. So let's say this is some value 535. And then the next day it goes to 695. So let me just define these segments. This is, let's say, day 0. Then this is your day 1 in terms of indices of your array. Day 2. This is day 3. This is day 4. This is day 5. This is day 6. And this is day 7. So what was the value of your stock at this day? It was 100. This is 100. At this position, it was 180. Then this is 260. This is for your understanding. Okay. You'll be able to understand better logically what we are doing in this problem. This is 40. This is 535. This is 690. Am I missing something? 100, 180, 260, 310, 40. Then there is this, sorry. 535 should be more than 310. So this is not 535. Okay, let me just draw it nicely. So let's say there's this value going up till this, right? Let this be your, after 40 your value becomes 535. Let's say this is 535, and then after 535 it goes to 695. Let's say this is 695. Okay, so this is the pattern of the values of your stocks, the pattern in which they're increasing or decreasing. Okay, now what will be the most profitable set of days to buy and sell the stock? Okay, let's have a look here. If let's say this is the day I'm starting with, okay, I'm checking the next value, the next day. What is the value of your stock next day? I compare it with the current day that I am present at. Let's say this is my I. This is buy and sell index. So I check I plus 1. What is your A of I plus 1? That is 180. Is it greater than your A of I? It says yes, great. It is greater than. So I can say that my selling index can be at this position. Selling index is defining that I can sell my stock there. But why am I not taking decision whether to sell or not? Because I will explore more days. Is there any more day on which the value of selling stock is even more, right? So I'll gain more profit. So one thing I can say for sure is that you can increment the count of your selling index. Means selling index, this is the counter which is letting me know that at this day I can sell my stock. So I started with 0. Both buy and sell indexes, both were at 0. I compare the next day with the current day. I say if the next day's value is greater than my current day's stock value, then I can definitely sell. But whether to sell or not, that I will decide after making all the explorations, right? Okay. So next thing, let me just write it properly. Side by side, we will also be generating pseudocode. You'll understand that. So I am basically incrementing the count of my cell. Now, okay, simultaneously, basically, this is your for loop starting from I is equals to 0 to basically n minus 1. Why n minus 1? You will understand. So starting with I0, now I is at this position. I is at this position, Y is still at this position. Okay. What I will do, I will again do the same thing. Compare the next day's value with my previous day's value. Okay, it says that it is 200 and it is greater than my current day's value. So definitely my selling point can be this day as well. I can sell on this day also, keeping the buy still at the position where it was earlier. Because till now, I have only gotten the values on the days which are greater than the value on my buy day, right? So whether I sell on this day, I'm going to gain profit. Whether I sell on this day, I'm again going to gain profit. But on which day to sell to gain the maximum profit? That is my target. That is why I am not moving buy until I find, I'll tell you when I will move my buy index. Okay. Now my loop will continuously run. And now my index is also at this position. I compare next value, next day's value, which is 310, with my current day's value. Current day is 260. Next day is 310. Again, this is greater. So I can increment the count of cell and bring it here. And simultaneously, let's say this is only your loop. So I will also increment. Now my comparison will happen with this day and this day. So A of I plus 1 is what? It is 40. And the current day is 310. I check this condition and this fails. That means one thing I know for sure, if I'm at this current position and I find a day where the value is less than my current day's value, that means obviously it is not profitable to sell here. Sell will not be profitable in this case. So I know for sure one thing, that till now my selling index would be at some position such that it will be greater than my buy index, right? I have to ensure either it can be equal to buy index or it can be greater than buy index, right? So what I will do when this condition doesn't hold true, if then I was doing sell plus plus. If this condition doesn't hold true, that means else you will go in else case. In else case, what will you check? You will check one thing for sure, that your buy is not equal to selling index. We always know that we are iterating over this array in such a way that buy index can either be equal to your selling index, both are at same position, or selling index will always be greater than your buy index. So check this condition, that buy, if your buy index is not equal to your sell index, then only it is better to make profit. It will be profitable. If both are at same index, what is the profit you will get? Buy also on this day and sell also on this day. 100 minus 100, zero, only zero profit. So if there is zero profit, we don't want to evaluate it, right? So my condition here is, when I came at this condition, this was the condition when my if condition failed, which tells me now there is a dip in the price of my stock. So what logic says is that whatever profit you can make till now, add it to your answer, because now if you go ahead to next day, there is some dip in the value. So it will not be profitable to sell will not be profitable. You can buy on that day, buy can happen, buy is possible, but sell is not profitable. So till now, whatever buy or whatever sell index you have, just add them to your answer. Okay. So what I'll do, let's say I have some array list ARR in which I will add this buy and sell indexes, right? Buy and ARR dot add sell also. And what you will do when you come out of this else loop, in this case, you check this and then you add this to your answer. And when you come out of this else loop, else condition, or basically this if condition, not out of else, then you do one more thing, which is that you have evaluated your answer, you have evaluated your profit when you were buying on day 0 and selling at day this, and you have added also to your answer. Now for the next iteration, do one thing, that bring your buy also at I plus 1 and bring your sell also at I plus 1. Why am I doing so? Let me just check if you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. Yeah, understand this thing. What I'm trying to explain is, let me just minimize it a little bit. What I'm trying to explain here is that when I come at this condition, in else condition, I came at else condition only when there was some dip in the value. That suggests that sell will not be a good idea, buy can be a good idea. So bring your buy index at this position. Why am I doing I plus 1? Because see, I was at ith index. I am always at ith index. My I was at this position. And I was comparing I plus 1 with I in this case, which failed. This became false. That is why I came to else part. And when I came to else part, I decided that whatever answer till now I have, whatever profit I have, those indices I will add into my answers, which is why I'm doing some ARR dot add your buy index and ARR dot add your sell index. So basically this amount of profit is what you have generated so far, and you have added those indices. Now let's see what next profit we can generate. Till here, this was the maximum profit you could generate. Now to generate next profit, it is important for me to understand that buy can now be at this index. And since sell can never be behind your buy index. You can never go one day back and sell your stock. You can only sell it in the future or on that current day. So bring your buy and bring your sell on the same index, which is your I plus 1, right? And start the iteration and continue the iteration. Now your in I will be at this position, right? You check for this condition doesn't hold true because it is equal, your buy and sell are at same position. You come at this else condition and check B should not be equal to S. This also fails, so nothing will happen. Just simply increment the count of your I index. Now your I is at this index, right? Now I is at this index. Check for this condition. A of I plus 1. A of I plus 1 is this value. Is it greater than this value? Yes, it is greater than this value. Then increment the count. 1 second. My I is at, if A of I plus 1 is greater than A of I, then I was doing, okay, greater than or equal to, if I do, okay, fine. So basically, when this is equal also, I am evaluating it. I'll tell you why did I do so. So when ai plus 1 is greater than equal to A of I, do nothing, simply increment the count of S, right? So when you checked at this position, your A of I hardly matters, although you do S. This is equal, so your S is also at this position. Okay. Now, when your S is at this position, your I is at this position. Now you continue the loop. Check. A of I plus 1 is this, and A of I is this, right? Or even if your cell was at this position, even if you don't put equal, it will hardly matter. Okay, I'll tell you both the cases. So let's say now equal is there. Now you evaluate, this is your I plus 1, this is your I. It is greater than this value, so you do your selling plus plus. S will be incremented and will be at this position. Okay. Now what? Now you check for A. Now your I has exhausted its limit. Now your I is already at n minus 1, so you will come out of the loop. Now you came out of the loop, but do you see one thing in your ARR? In your ARR, in which you are adding the answer, till now only one pair has been added, which is index 0 of buy and index this 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0 and 3 have already been added, but there is one more answer that we can get. So what we realize from here is that when you land up in such a case that you have already iterated the loop, the array till n minus 1th index, and let's say you still have some value which is greater, on which the value of your stock is greater than the value at which your buy index is placed. So that for that case, when you come out of the loop, you do the same thing again. What same thing you do again? You will check if your buy is not equal to S, right? You, in your answer, you will add what is your selling index. Your selling index is at the last index, so add that value, which will be 6, index 6, and add the buy value. So first I will add my buy. This is index 4. First you will add your 4, then you will add your 6. So the next answer that you will have will be pairs 4, 6. And what is the profit? If I ask you what is the profit generated, so this is the 6th index, this is the 4th index, 695 minus 4. So basically what we have done here is, what I want to explain is that, see, what was the profit you could generate? So this was the amount of profit you generated. Then next amount of profit that you could have generated was this. Is there any possibility to generate any more profit? Can you generate any profit from this? By the highlighted area, I mean that I buy it at the bottommost point and sell it at the topmost point. Then for this part of your graph, I buy it at this point and then sell it at this point. So this is how you are generating the maximum profit, right? This is how you do it. Let's take one more example and you will understand it better. Have you guys understood so far? Yeah. So these exactly. So what you have written is pairs 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6 may also be the solution. But see, your problem says one thing. We don't need to give all the possible solutions. If I say 0 to 2, 3, 1, I think 2, 3. Yeah. So if I say 0, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 3, as you're saying, are the pairs. I can merge it from 0 to 3, right? This can also be one answer. So my problem statement is not concerned about exact number of pairs that I need to return. Even if I get one answer, the it will question will handle the answer itself. I just need to add any pair which is giving me the correct answer. 0 1 1 2 2 3 is also one pair, all three pairs. And what if I give 0 3 as one pair? So the profit of 0 1 1 2 2 3 is equal to profit from 0 to 3, right? So if I give pair 0 3, that will help me. And if I give pair 4 to 6, that will also help me, instead of giving all these pairs. So what I'm doing is that I am giving the pair which is giving me the exact amount of profit that your pairs were giving me. That is all I need to do, because your problem statement is doing what? As and when it finds the pairs in your answer, you're returning an array list containing the pairs. My pair may not need not to be the same pairs as you are returning, but the intent of this problem is that your problem statement, as and when it will find that your array list is not empty, it will return 1. See why the output is 1. The output is 1 here because it has found some answers in the array list, so it will handle it itself and return 1. If it finds an empty array list, it will return 0. So that is the problem statement. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, coming back to your problem, one more example we will take, and then, or before that, let's move to the code, and then I'll take this example and help you understand. If I move to the code now, so what do we see? We'll come back to the problem and take one more example to help you understand. Meanwhile, for those who have understood, I think it will be very easy. First of all, let's create an array list which is of integers, right? ARR, new array, fine. Okay, int by 0, int s0, and let's say what else we want. I think these are the sufficient variables we need. For int, now starting my loop from 0 till n minus 1th and n minus 1th, not n minus 1th, till n minus 2th index. You know why? Because I'm making comparisons with the next day's value of next day's value with my current day. I check in my a I plus 1. Let me do it like this. Is it greater than the value present at a of I? Right? If this is the case, what are you doing? Basically, you are doing nothing but incrementing the count of your cell. Otherwise, you go to the else part. In else part, what do you check? That your buy and sell indexes are not at the same position. That's because it is always going, sell is always going to be greater than your buy index, but it can be at the same index also. When I'm starting with b0 and s0. So what I want to ensure is that I will not generate any profit on the same day also. It will be zero profit, so I do not want to add it to my answer. That is why I'm putting up this check. So if this is the case, do one thing, then you add some values to your answer. So let's say you create an array list of integer, name it current new array list, right? Okay, what do you want to add to your current array list? Dot add your buy index, because that can be one buying day, and dot add your sell index, right? So that is what you want to add. And finally, to ARR, you add this current array list, right? This is what you want to do. And once you are out of this if condition, what you want to do, now you know that you have evaluated some answer and you have added this answer to your array list, right? This array list is an array list of array lists. So you have added your answer, and then you want to evaluate the further new profit. For that, you will bring your buy index at I plus 1 and sell index also at I plus 1, right? And once you come out of the loop, once you come out of the else condition, then you are out of your, this is for if, this is for else, this is for your for loop. When you come out of your for loop, what do? You do the same thing again. You check for this. You check for this. If P is not equal to S, you again make some array list, add your buying and selling indexes at your value, and then you return your ARR. That's what you want to do. Let's check first. Okay, so this problem has been accepted. Let's take one more example and understand this. I'll tell you the time complexity also. Wait for a second. Okay, then moving back to the whiteboard. Let's take this example, the pseudo code. I think this is not looking too good. Fine. Let's have a look at a pseudo code only. Then you'll be able to relate with what we have done. Just give me a moment. I just want to take this snippet if I can. I think let's work with a pseudo code itself. So let's consider this example now. Take one more graph. Take your graph like this. Okay. So day 1 at day 0, basically, in terms of index, you are at 7. You are at some value 7. You come down to 1. Then you are at 5. Let this be 5. Then you are at 3. Let this be 3. Then you are at 4. Let this be 4. And then you are at 6. This was your 5, right? Then you are at 6. Let this be 6. Okay, fine. Let me mark it with what values these are. Try to understand this one. So this is your 7. This is your 1. This is your 5. This is your 3, right? This is your 6, 3. Then this is your 6. And then there is 4 also. 4 should. Four should be somewhere here. Understood? Okay. So when we are at day 0, at day 0, my buying and selling pointers are at 0th index only. So right now my I is also here, my B is also here, and my S is also here. Okay, look at this. From I0 to n minus 1, you check I plus 1. What is I plus 1? I plus 1, let me write here A of I plus 1. This is A of I plus 1. This is A of I. This is your B pointer. This is your S pointer. And let's write the profit also here. Okay. So right now your A of I plus 1 is what? It is 1. Your A of I is what? It is 7. B is at 0, S is at 0, and right now profit is nothing. Basically, it will be negative. So I'll write it like this. Okay, check for this condition. Is A of I plus 1? A of I plus 1 is 1. A of I is 7. Is this condition true? No, no, it is not. Then you come to the else part. Then you check if B is not equal to S. Where is your B? It is at 0. S is also at 0. Both are at same position. So this condition will also fail. So now you will bring your B at I plus 1. So B will be at this position now. Which position? At index 1. This is where your B is now. Your S is also at this position now, right? Okay. And then you continue with the loop. I will also be at first index now. This is where your I is. Let me write it in this box. So at this, now when you, or your I is at what? Your I is at first index. Your buy is also at first index. Your sell is also at first index. Compare this first condition. What is A of I plus 1? So I is this. I plus 1 is this, which will be 5. And A of I is 1. So you compare 5 with 1. 5 is greater than 1. So you increase your selling index. Your cell will pointing to this index now. Your cell is at this index. So where is your cell? Your cell is at index 2. Your buy is still at 1. Okay, fine. Do you come to this else part? No. Once you are done with if part, just continue with the loop. Your I will be at this position now. Your I is at this position. So when your I is at this position, your buy is still at 1, your S is at 2. You check for I plus 1. What is A of I plus 1? This is 3. What is A of I? A of I is still 5. So 3 is not greater than 5. So you go to the else part. Then you check your B should not be equal to S, which is true. So you go inside and add this value to your answer. What is this value? You add in your answer, let's say, there is this array list which contains two values. One is index of buying, one is index of selling. So buying is at index 1. So you will add 1. And also there is another index which is of selling, that is index 2. So this is index 1, this is index 2. So it will go to your answer, right? Answer will store 1, 2 as of now, right? We have got one pair from which we are going to make profit, which is this pair. Okay, fine. Then else part is done. You bring your buy to I plus 1. So buy, what is I currently? I is at this index. So buy will come here, sell will come here, and your iteration will continue. So your now currently your I is also at this position, right? So why did you do so? Now I hope you can understand. You got your answer as in when you come at else part of loop. You come at else part of loop only when you find a value of ARR which is less than the value of the previous day, right? That means you cannot sell your stock at this point. So whatever answer you got, you store it in your answer. Whatever values you got of buy and sell index, store it in answer and move ahead, because and bring your buy pointer and sell pointer at this index, because this can be one possible value for your buying day, and selling will proceed ahead. Okay, then again we come back at this position. We check for A of I plus 1. I plus 1 would be this. 6 is greater than 3. That is true. So your selling will come at this place now. Your sell will come at this place. And then next iteration, your I. Okay. For next iteration, your I will be at this position now. This is the last index that you can iterate over for according to the loop. Okay. To n minus 2th. I'm sorry. N minus 2th index. So you're at this position now. Now again check the condition. A of I plus 1 is this value and A of I is this value. So you will not go to the if loop, but you will go to the else loop. So you check your B index and S index are not equal. So you add this answer to your, this pair to your answer. So pair would be your buying index. This is index. What is this index? 3. And the other index is 4th index, right? Selling index. And then I plus 1 is this. So bring your B and S both at this position. I hope you have understood this now. So what are we doing? As in when there is a dip in the graph, that makes you understand that this can be one possible day of buying. So wherever your buy indexes, bring that point to here, and obviously we are going to move your selling index also there, because selling cannot be behind buying day, right? You cannot sell, as I told you, cannot sell by going one day behind and sell it. So sell has to eventually, minimum position it can take is the buying day itself. That is why we are moving sell also to I+1, and why we move B to I+1 you have understood, right? So else condition is handling these cases where there is a dip in the graph, and whenever the graph is always rising, in that case we are incrementing the count of your selling index, because that is how you are incrementing the count of your profit also. And as in when you find a dip, you add your profitable days in pairs, and that's what you return. So whenever your function will get an array list which will have certain pairs of these indices, then it will return you 1. If my array list was empty, let's say there was no profit, let's say if your graph was something like this, here also you will make some profit. If your graph is something like this, then all these will be your profitable buying and selling days. But if your graph is always like this, steep, like this, steep, are you going to make any profit? No profit, because here also zero profit, here there will be loss, there will not be profit, and here it will be zero, no gain, no loss. So in such a graph, your array list will remain empty. So in that case, your function will return you 0. So I hope you have understood. So typically for buying, what are we doing? Whatever values you are given, you just visualize the graph, right? It can be anything. And what are your profits? You are gaining profits from these values of the graph. Wherever there is the rise in the value, so these are the profits that will add to your answer. If you were asked that what is the profit you are giving, so profit would be the value at this index minus value at this index plus value at this index minus value at this index. Understood? So if I ask you what is the profit for this test case, the profit should be 5 minus 1, that is 4, plus this part of graph, that is 6 minus 3. So total answer should be 7. I hope you have understood this. Time complexity, total time complexity. So if you check, you are running just one loop, and in that loop only, in the forward direction, you are just making comparisons. So maximum time complexity is actually precisely, it is O of n minus 1. If there are n elements, you are iterating over n minus, actually it is O of n only, not O of n minus 1, because when we come out of the loop, if we are left with this part, we are evaluating it separately from what we have written here. See why we have written this thing, because in your for loop, you were always comparing I plus 1th index with I. So you have to make sure that your index do not go out of bounds. So in the case when you are still left to, put your answer, if you have the case where you can earn some profit, but you have not placed the value in your answer array list, because you are running a loop till n minus 2th index only. So basically your loop has been till here, and you are yet to put your answer of buying and selling indices, so that we are handling separately. So I hope you have understood this problem statement now. So there is no extra space that we are taking, we are doing it in OO and time complexity. That is what your problem is. It's a very nice problem, quite frequently asked in interviews. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you everyone, then see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.